Stop scrolling, because if a woman has ever desired you and you didn't notice, this video will sting. But it will also change everything. Most men don't lose women because they're unattractive. They lose them because they miss the moment. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to never miss it again. Listen carefully. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal 3 unmistakable signs a woman shows when desire is already alive inside her. But you must stay until the 3rd sign, because that one happens in plain sight, right in front of everyone. Yet almost no man recognizes it until it's too late. And once you see it, you'll never unsee it. Before we go deeper, pause for just a second. If you've ever walked away from a moment wondering, was she into me, or was I imagining it? Then this video is for you. And if you want more content that actually helps you understand women without manipulation or games, take 1 second right now, tap the like button. It might seem small, but it tells me you want more of this kind of truth, and tell me in the comments. Have you ever realized too late that a woman liked you? Hi, I'm Sarah Jones, and what I'm about to share with you isn't pickup advice, it's not tricks, it's not scripts, and it's definitely not manipulation. This is the real language of female desire, the part nobody teaches men, but every woman lives. Because here's the truth most men never hear clearly. It wasn't because you weren't attractive enough. It wasn't because you said the wrong thing. It happened because nobody ever taught you how to read what wasn't being said. And that language? It's completely different from yours. When a man feels desire, he usually knows it instantly. It's direct, it's physical. It moves outward quickly, but when a woman feels desire, she doesn't rush forward. She leans back, just slightly. She tests, she creates context, she opens doors, but she rarely walks through them alone. Instead, she watches, she waits. She wants to see if you understand the invitation. And no, this isn't manipulation. It's not playing games. It's biology layered with emotional intelligence. For thousands of years, women had to be selective, not because they were difficult, but because choosing the wrong partner had real consequences. Emotional, physical, social. That instinct hasn't disappeared. It adapted. So when desire appears in a woman, it doesn't scream, it whispers. And those whispers are what most men miss. Now imagine this for a second. You're talking to a woman. Everything feels normal, maybe even a little friendly, maybe a little neutral. You walk away thinking, yeah, that was fine. But hours later, or worse, days later, you replay the moment in your head, and suddenly it hits you. The way she looked at you, the way she leaned in, that moment when she paused, just a little longer than necessary. And you think, wait, was that a sign? Yes, it was. But you didn't recognize it in real time, and that's what we're fixing today. Because once you understand these signals, not intellectually but emotionally, you stop guessing, you stop overthinking. You stop missing opportunities that were quietly placed right in front of you. So let's begin with the first sign, and I want you to really feel this one, not just hear it. She touches you, without a reason. Now most men dismiss this immediately. They say, oh, she's just friendly, or that's just her personality. But friendliness has boundaries. Desire gently breaks them. Here's what you need to understand deeply. When a woman feels drawn to you, her body wants to close distance. Before her mind fully explains why. It's subtle, it's almost invisible unless you're paying attention. She doesn't touch you because she needs something. She doesn't touch you because the room is loud. She doesn't touch you to guide you somewhere. She touches you because something inside her is pulling her closer. And the real signal isn't the touch itself. It's the duration. A friendly touch is quick, efficient, functional. It happens and disappears almost instantly. But when desire is present, it lingers. 1 extra second, sometimes 2. And that moment, that tiny pause, is everything. Because in that space, her nervous system is speaking before her logic catches up. Neuroscience actually supports this. When attraction activates in the brain, especially in women, there's a subconscious drive to confirm the feeling physically, not in a dramatic way, but in a small, testing way. A brush of the arm, a hand resting lightly while she laughs, adjusting something on your shirt that didn't really need adjusting. These are not accidents. They're micro-invitations. Let me give you a real-life example. Imagine you're sitting across from her. You say something slightly funny, not even that impressive. Imagine you're sitting across from her. You say something slightly funny, not even that impressive. She laughs, and as she does, her hand comes to your forearm, not forcefully, not dramatically, just there. And instead of pulling away immediately, she stays. For a second longer than necessary. In that moment, she's not thinking, I'm going to signal attraction now. She's feeling, and her body is expressing it. Now here's where most men lose the moment. They go into their head. They analyze. Was that intentional? Should I respond? What does this mean? And while they're thinking, the moment passes. Because attraction lives in presence, not analysis. So here's your shift. The next time this happens, don't overreact. Don't jump forward, don't make it awkward, just stay grounded, feel the moment, maybe you smile slightly, maybe you maintain eye contact just a little longer. Your calmness tells her something powerful. It tells her, you're safe to feel this with me. And safety is the foundation of female desire. Now let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever experienced this before? A touch that felt slightly different, but you brushed it off? Think about it. Because chances are, that wasn't just friendliness. That was a door opening. And you didn't walk through it. But that's okay. Because now you're learning the language, and we're just getting started. Now the second sign is even more subtle. And in many cases, it happens before any touch at all. This is where most men completely lose awareness, because it's happening right in front of their eyes, literally. Her eyes start speaking differently. And no, I'm not talking about just eye contact. Everyone talks about eye contact like it's the signal. It's not. The real signal is in the pattern, and once you see this, you'll start noticing it everywhere. When a woman feels attraction, her pupils can subtly dilate. That's biology. It's involuntary. She cannot fake it. She cannot consciously control it, but you're probably not going to notice that. What you will notice, if you're present, is the rhythm of her gaze. She looks at you, holds it, just a fraction longer than normal. Then she looks away, but not randomly, not distracted. She looks down, and then she comes back to you again. That downward glance, that's the signal. Psychologically, it represents a moment of openness, mixed with vulnerability. It's her stepping slightly out of her guard, but not fully. It's her saying, without words, I feel something, but I'm watching how you handle it. And this is where men separate. Some men get too excited. They lean in too fast. They break the tension. Other men get nervous. They look away too quickly. They can't hold the moment. But the men who understand, they stay. They don't stare aggressively. They don't retreat. They simply hold the space. And in that space, tension builds. Attraction deepens. Connection becomes real. If you've ever been in a moment where nothing was said, but everything was felt, that wasn't awkwardness. That was energy. That was attraction, testing its depth, and here's something most people won't tell you. Women remember those moments, not the words you said, not the jokes you made, but how you made them feel in silence. So the next time you catch that look, that pause, that downward glance, don't break it, stay with it. Because something is growing there, and if you're patient enough, it will reveal itself. Now take a breath with me for a second, because the third sign is the one that changes everything. This is the moment that turns maybe into something real. This is the moment that ends friendships, starts relationships, and creates regret when missed. And almost no man sees it in time, but you will. Now we move to the third sign. This is the one that ends friendships, starts relationships, and creates regret when missed. Pay attention. Sign number 3. She creates privacy. And I need you to slow down and really understand this, because this signal is so subtle, so socially disguised, that most men completely overlook it. Not because they're unaware, but because it doesn't look like desire at all. It looks practical, it looks casual, it looks harmless, but it isn't. Here's how it usually happens. You're in a group. Maybe it's a party, a gathering, a workplace setting. There are conversations happening, people moving, noise around you, and then something shifts. She suggests grabbing a drink with you. She says, hey, come here for a second. I want to show you something. She lowers her voice slightly when she talks to you. She steps just a little closer than before. She creates a small bubble inside a larger environment. Now, to most men, this feels normal. They think, oh, we're just talking. No, you're not just talking. She's changing the environment. And environment is everything when it comes to female desire, because before a woman opens emotionally or physically, she needs a sense of controlled space. Not isolation, not pressure, but privacy. A moment where the outside world fades just enough for something real to emerge. This is deeply psychological. When a woman feels attraction, her mind begins to ask a question. What would it feel like? if it were just us? And instead of asking you directly, she creates that situation. That's what the signal is. It's not random. It's intentional. Let me make this very real for you. Imagine you're at a social event. You've been talking casually, nothing too intense. Then suddenly she says, "Let's grab a drink from over there," even though there are drinks nearby. You walk with her. Now you're slightly removed from the group. The noise is lower, the energy changes, and in that moment, she watches you. Not obviously, but she's observing how you respond to the shift. You walk with her. Now you're slightly removed from the group. The noise is lower, the energy changes, and in that moment, she watches you. Not obviously, but she's observing how you respond to the shift. Do you stay the same? Do you become awkward? Do you panic and start filling silence with unnecessary words? Or do you relax into it? Do you accept the space like it's natural? Do you meet her energy without forcing anything? Because here's the truth most men never hear. When a woman creates privacy with you, she has already decided she wants to feel something more. She's not deciding if she's interested, she's exploring how deep it could go. And she's watching you for one thing. Can you handle the moment without collapsing it? Most men fail right here. Not because they're bad, not because they're unattractive, but because they don't recognize what's happening. So they stay overly polite, they stay surface level, they treat the moment like it's just another conversation, and slowly, the energy fades, the opportunity closes, and later they wonder, why didn't anything happen? It's because they didn't step into the space that was created for them. Now let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever had a moment where a woman pulled you slightly away from others and nothing happened? Think carefully, because that might not have been random, that might have been the moment, and you didn't see it, but now you will, because once you recognize this pattern, you can't ignore it anymore. You'll start noticing when the environment shifts, when her voice softens, when her body language becomes more focused, when the world around you fades, just a little, and instead of freezing, you'll stay grounded, you won't rush, you won't force, you'll simply be present. And presence is what allows attraction to breathe. Now here's something even deeper. Why does this signal matter so much? Because this is where emotional connection begins to transition into something physical, or at least something more intimate. This is the bridge, and most men never cross it, not because they can't, but because they don't realize they're standing right in front of it. So how do you respond? Not with lines, not with strategies, but with awareness. You match her pace. If she slows down, you slow down. If she lowers her voice, you naturally meet that tone. If she creates space, you step into it without hesitation. You don't overthink, you don't perform, you just align. And when you do that, something powerful happens. She feels understood, not logically, emotionally. And when a woman feels emotionally understood, her guard drops, her openness increases, her desire becomes more visible. Now let's take this one step further, because recognizing signals is only half of the equation. The other half is what you do with them, and this is where most advice online completely fails you. It tells you what to look for, but not how to be. So let me give you something real. She gives a signal. You respond with presence. She leans in slightly. You hold steady. She creates space. You step into it calmly. It's a rhythm, and when you feel that rhythm, everything becomes natural. She gives a signal. You respond with presence. She leans in slightly. You hold steady. She creates space. You step into it calmly. It's a rhythm, and when you feel that rhythm, everything becomes natural. Now I want to pause for a moment and bring you back into this, because if you're still here, it means something is clicking for you. You're starting to see patterns you didn't see before. You're starting to remember moments from your past that suddenly make sense. And that's powerful. So let me ask you this. Which of these signs have you missed before? Was it the touch, the look, or the moment she created space, and you didn't step into it? Write it in the comments. Say it clearly, because awareness begins when you admit what you didn't see. And if this is opening your eyes even a little bit, take a second and like the video. Not for me, but because this kind of content needs to reach more men who are still confused, still guessing, still missing moments that could change everything. Now, we're not done yet, because understanding these signals is just the beginning. In the final part, I'm going to show you something deeper. Why missing these moments has nothing to do with your worth. and how you can move forward with a level of confidence that doesn't rely on tricks, lines, or validation, and more importantly, how to make sure this never happens again. Let's continue. Now listen closely, because this is the part that most men never hear, and it's the part that changes everything. Missing these moments doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you weren't good enough. It doesn't mean she chose someone better. It means you were playing a game without ever being taught the rules, and that matters because when you don't understand the rules, you don't act, you hesitate, you second guess, you shrink in moments that actually required nothing more than calm awareness. And over time, that hesitation starts to feel like rejection. But it wasn't rejection, it was missed communication. Let that sink in for a second, because if you've ever replayed a situation in your head, late at night, wondering what you did wrong, this is where you finally get your answer. You didn't do something wrong. You didn't do something at all. And in the language of attraction, inaction speaks loudly. Now here's where it gets deeper. Most men are taught to focus on external things, what to say, how to look, how to impress. But female desire doesn't respond primarily to performance. It responds to presence, to emotional steadiness, to your ability to be there without forcing anything. And when you miss signals like the ones we talked about, the touch, the eyes, the creation of privacy, it's usually because you're disconnected from the moment. You're thinking instead of feeling. You're analyzing instead of experiencing. And attraction doesn't wait for analysis. It lives in real time. So how do you change that? Not by memorizing more techniques, but by shifting your awareness. Let me show you what that actually looks like. The next time you're with a woman, I want you to do something different. Instead of asking yourself, what should I say next? Ask yourself, what is happening right now? Feel the space, notice her body language, pay attention to the pauses, not just the words, because the truth is, the most important parts of attraction happen in the silence between sentences. That's where the signals live. That's where the invitations appear. And when you start noticing those moments, something changes inside you. You stop chasing, you stop trying to impress, and you start connecting. Now let's make this practical. Imagine you're sitting with her and there's a brief silence. Old, you might panic, you might rush to fill it. Say something unnecessary, break the tension. But the new you stay, you breathe, you hold eye contact just long enough. You let the silence exist, and in that silence, she feels you. Not your words, not your performance, you. And that's where attraction deepens. Because most men can talk, very few can hold presence. Now here's another shift that will change everything for you. Stop looking for certainty, start trusting patterns. A single signal can be misread. But patterns don't lie. If she touches you and lingers, if her eyes soften, hold, drop, and return. If she creates moments where it's just the two of you, that's not coincidence, that's alignment. And when you see alignment, you don't need to overthink. You respond naturally. You lean in slightly, not physically, but energetically. You engage a little deeper. You allow the moment to evolve. And here's the key. You don't rush the outcome, because rushing is rooted in fear. Fear of losing the moment. Fear of missing the chance. But ironically, that fear is what destroys it. Calm confidence is different. It says, I see what's happening and I trust it. And that trust, that's what she feels. That's what makes her relax. That's what allows desire to grow instead of disappear. Now I want to bring this back to you. Because this isn't just about women. It's about how you show up in your life. Are you present? Or are you constantly in your head? Are you reacting? Or are you grounded? Because the same awareness that helps you understand attraction will improve every interaction you have with friends, with colleagues, with yourself. Now, if this is starting to shift your perspective, if you're realizing that attraction isn't something you force, but something you recognize and respond to, then you're exactly where you need to be, and this is why I created the female signals. Because there's a deeper layer to all of this. It's not just about spotting signs, it's about understanding emotional dynamics. Timing, energy, and the subtle ways connection builds or breaks without words. So if you want to go further, if you want to actually live this instead of just hearing it once, make sure you subscribe to the Female Signals. Because what's coming next goes even deeper. Now before you leave, I want you to do one simple thing. Comment this. I see it now. Not for me, for you. Because when you write something, you reinforce it. You make it real in your mind, and from this point forward, you'll start noticing things you used to miss. A touch that lingers, a look that says more than words, a moment of privacy that isn't random at all. And when those moments happen again, and they will, you won't hesitate the same way. You'll recognize, you'll stay present, you'll respond without forcing, and that's where everything changes. Because attraction isn't about becoming someone else, it's about finally seeing what was always there. You didn't miss your chances because you weren't enough. You missed them because nobody ever showed you where to look. Now you know, use it wisely.